With the 15th pick and with the 26th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Dwayne Haskins, Montez Sweat.
Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sistren. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report. So, a lot of things happened last week during the Super Bowl lead up, as I talked about on the couple of videos that I dropped. And obviously, you guys were paying attention to all of the different things that were going on leading up to the Super Bowl. A lot of interesting conversations going on outside of the Super Bowl. But if you're a Redskins fan, you were really focusing in on Ron Rivera making his rounds on Radio Row and various networks. He was on the network train as well, Fox Sports 1, ESPN, and as I mentioned, on just about every radio program he could get on. And so he kind of talked a lot about some things that we haven't really heard him discuss quite yet. You know, he talked about why he took this Redskins job. We heard him talk about that a little bit in various conversations that he's had with either media members or local people around the area. But we've heard him talk about certain things, and then there are other things such as the roster and how he feels about specific positions on the roster that we really haven't heard from him. We didn't know where he stood on the tight end position, for instance. And we all knew that the tight end position needed repair badly, but he kind of spoke to that. And you know, Vernon Davis retiring kind of drives that hammer, that nail home just a little bit further. And there were actually Redskins fans. There weren't a ton of you out there, but there were actually Redskins fans that were saying, look, we don't need Greg Olsen. We got Vernon Davis. We already got an old guy on the roster that's way more athletic and still has a lot to give. Let's just hold on to Vernon Davis and not worry about Greg Olsen. Well, that's dead. For those of you who are in that mindset, that's over with. That's done. And so we'll see what the Redskins decide to do. As I talked about last week with the video I did on Greg Olsen, and then last week we actually had the conversation during the live feed about Greg Olsen. A lot of you pretty much said, nope, good. I'm good on Greg Olsen. Thanks, but no thanks. The Redskins may not sign him when it's all said and done, but I can tell you this much. If he comes here first, because he's got some meetings lined up with teams that are very interested. We're not the only ones. All right. This guy, like I told you last week, this guy had damn near 600 yards receiving last season. All right. And had Cam Newton been healthy and had he not been playing with guys that were essentially rookies and Kyle Allen and what's the guy for Will Greer and guys like that, he might have had 800-900 yards receiving. He was not bad last season. Okay. So there's still good football left in Greg Olsen, and we'll see what happens with him in that situation. But Rivera talked about the tight end position and said, look, that guy isn't on the roster right now. So that kind of tells us, gives a little peek into what he's thinking in terms of the roster and specifically the tight end position. He didn't talk about a ton, and you knew this was going to be the topic du jour when he went around to different booths and different networks talking. The main discussion was going to be around Dwayne Haskins, and he talked about Dwayne Haskins, and very glowingly, I might add. You know, a lot of the things he has said previously, they've been kind of compliment sandwiches. You know, compliment, hey, he's got to work hard, compliment. You know, compliment, hey, he's got to be a leader, compliment. And so, you know, you're hearing that it compliment, hasn't played a ton of football, compliment. And he pretty much continued with that. If there's one thing I can say about Ron Rivera, is that he's very consistent. We got more of the same. He talked about his size. He talked about his arm strength. He talked about his poise, his moxie. He talked about him leading some big drives versus Detroit. He talked about a lot of things that he liked. And then he compliment sandwich. In the middle of those compliments was a, hey, got to take leadership. Hey, got to show up, got to come to work. Hey, he's got to earn it. Hey, and don't forget about Alec Smith. So, you know, and a lot of you kind of ran with that. And I told you, And someone, a few of you hit me up on Twitter, was like, hey, what do you think about Ron Rivera and what he's saying about Dwayne Haskins and Alec Smith? And I'm like, not really much there that moves the needle for me. I think all he was doing was what he has been doing the entire time, which is pretty much making sure that Alec Smith, Dwayne Haskins is on his toes, that he's doing the things that he needs to do, and mentally he understands that nothing's going to be given to him. Remember, he stepped to the podium during his interim presser, during that opening presser, his introductory presser. He talked about Dwayne having to earn it, Dwayne having to take ownership of being the starting quarterback and being a leader of this team and what it entails. And Scott Turner echoed those same sentiments when he became the offensive coordinator. So those guys are in lockstep. They've been delivering the same message. Again, if there's one thing I love about Ronnie Riv, is that he's consistent. If nothing else, he is consistent. And he talked about Trent Williams too, and I talked about that on the video. That, he gave us a little tidbit there. Hey, haven't really talked to Trent yet. Haven't really reached out to him, but we're going to sit down. We're going to figure out where he is mentally and, more importantly, physically, because we really don't know where he is from a physical standpoint. Still don't know if he's where he needs to be to even help at this point. But we're going to figure out what the situation is with him, and does he want to be here, essentially, is what he was asking or saying, I should say. And he said he's still our guy. Trent's still our guy, and we're going to find a way to get him in here. So that was also really interesting to hear and quite refreshing, I might add. But they do need to make that conversation happen sooner rather than later. But again, a lot of things. Then, of course, the Alec Smith thing came out. Again, we all heard about, and a lot of you are like trying to dismiss the fact that I made that video saying that he almost died. Like, oh yeah, we already knew that. No, you didn't already know that, okay? Yeah, you heard rumors, and a lot of you said, yeah, we heard rumors about, multiple surgeries. Well, that was a fact. We heard that. We knew that actually transpired. All right, we heard about the infection. That's why he had to have multiple surgeries. So he had to have upwards of 15, possibly 17 surgeries is the number that we were hearing. We knew about those things. We knew about the potential leg amputation if things didn't go well. We heard about that, and you know what we did? Oh, man, that's crazy. And we kept going about our lives, all right? Had this man died, it would have changed the game. We would have looked at everything totally different. No one was over here thinking, oh, my God, this guy could die. We were thinking, man, that's a really unfortunate situation for Alec Smith. I wonder if Colt McCoy can get us to the playoffs. That's how a lot of you were thinking when he broke his leg back in 2018. You were thinking, God damn it, that's a crazy situation. Man, I'm praying for Alec Smith. Damn, we're still 6-3. Come on, Colt McCoy, get us to the playoffs. That's what a lot of you were thinking, or 6-4, I think, after that Houston game. 6-3, 6-4, whatever it was. And, to hear it from his mouth, how he went into septic shock, how he had sepsis, how his blood was contaminated, and he had to go through multiple surgeries just to get his blood clean and flowing through his body properly, and how he wasn't even aware of what was going on and how near death he was because he was unconscious, because he went into shock. Like, we didn't know these things. That is amazing. And to think that he still wants to play football is beyond me. I don't think he realistically wants to play football. I think he's just throwing that out there because it's giving him motivation and something to work towards to get back to health. And also, he wants to be able to say to himself, if I wanted to step back onto the gridiron, if I wanted to step between those white lines and do it again, I could have. I got back to where I needed to be to do it. And I think that's going to be some kind of gratification for him when he gets to that point, when he looks at that doctor and that doctor says, man, you're ready to go. You're 100% medically cleared. You can do everything you could do previously before the injury. Right now, go after it. And I think they have to save him from himself if he's not willing to do that. And listening to Ron Rivera continuously push this man out there and say, don't forget about Alec Smith. To me, I don't want to hear that. You go out in free agency, go get, and I know why he's doing it. I'm not killing Rivera for that, but go out in free agency, go get you a backup quarterback, and let's keep it pushing. And that's how I think they need to approach this entire offseason is, being realistic with yourself at the quarterback position and going out and getting someone else. And Alex is going to be here regardless. Whether you go out and get a backup quarterback making a minimum salary, or you don't do anything, Alex is going to be here regardless. So his salary dictates that, and I think he's a guy that is better served being around Dwayne than not being around him, whether he is competing against him or not. So with that being said, I'm going to open up the phone lines, let you guys have at it. I see that I have a super chat already. And so HTTR for life says, gotta wake up early tomorrow. Hashtag HTTR. Night, Lou. Hey, good night, man. Have a good one. I totally get it, bruh. I got to get up early my damn self. But I'm gonna grind and push through it. But you go ahead and catch you some Z's, man. Appreciate the super chat on the way out the door, man. Good looking out. Appreciate you. Have a good night, man. Take care. So with that being said, let's get to the comment section. What up, Bo? It's been a while, man. Seems like it's been a long time since we chopped it up. Sir Ozone says, you the man, Lou. Keep up the off-season coverage. I got you guys. I'm going to hold you down. The 20th Mike says, dang, Lou, seems like there's not a lot of help for us to make the necessary moves to be a successful team. Feels like we had better options last year than this year's off-season. I don't understand that comment. I don't. You got to further explain yourself. Why do you feel this way? Talk to me about that. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
John Rowland. What's up, man?
What's going on, John?
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Hey, man, I was wondering, what you think about Kaepernick being veteran quarterback coming in for the Redskins?
I don't see it happening. Like I said, I don't think anybody's going to sign Colin Kaepernick. I just don't see it happening. And I can tell you this from this standpoint too, from a Redskins standpoint, it would really not be a good fit because you got a young quarterback in Dwayne Haskins.
All right, so
your monitor is up too loud, and so it's echoing in the background. You need to turn that down.
all right, so let me ask you another thing, man. Do you think Bryce Love gonna come back strong this year?
Your monitor is loud in the background. You got to turn that down.
All right, hold on. Can you hear me good now?
Yeah. You asked about Bryce Love. So, to me, I don't see any reason why he can't come back stronger than ever. And yeah, I know he had multiple surgeries in the offseason, but, if you listen to people that were close to the situation or are supposed to be in the know, the second surgery was a minor one just to clean up some things. It wasn't like he re-aggravated it like how D'Angelo Hall did that one time when he had the Achilles injury. So it's not like it's the same injury and he re-aggravated it and it's going to take, double the amount of time to rehab. I think he's going to be back. I think he's going to be fine. And I think he's a guy that the Redskins should be able to lean on next season, especially if, Darius Geis isn't able to stay healthy.
Okay, and then what about, let me ask you the last thing, and that's it, because I love your show, man.
Appreciate
I
it.
watch it, and I'm a faithful fan. What about Alec Smith? They keep talking about Alec Smith going to come back and all this right there. Now, I heard what you was talking about, that you don't think so, but Ron Rivera keep on talking about, keep on saying that he's going to be, have good competition with him.
Right.
So what you think about that? I mean,
I think what Rivera is doing is he is posturing. He is essentially making sure that Dwayne Haskins knows that he's going to have to earn the starting job. He's not going to give it to him. As I mentioned, this is something that he is pretty much said from the jump since his introductory press conference that, look, he's a really talented kid. We like what we've seen from him. But he's going to have to earn it. He's going to have to work for it. He's going to have to be in the building. First one in, last one to leave, that sort of thing. Got to show the leadership skills. Got to know the playbook inside and out. And so I think that's, by him bringing up Alec Smith's name, I think that's a reminder to Dwayne, hey, look, there's a veteran on this roster making more money than you, that if he's healthy, he's won games in this league. don't think for 1 second we won't put him in, because we will. I don't think that's actually the case, but that's the message they're trying to send to Dwayne, to keep him hungry, to keep him motivated this offseason to be the best version of himself he can be.
Okay. All right, man. I appreciate it. And you know what? I love what you're doing. Keep what you're doing, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Take care.
All right.
All right. So, let's see. Yeah, 20th Mike, I'm going to need you to explain that a little bit more thoroughly. He says, it seems like there's not a lot of help for us to make the necessary moves to be a successful team. I want to know more, so hopefully you left that down in the comment section and we can get to it. Captain Spartan 04 says, I need that draft talk right now. I'm itching for it. The only thing I can share with your skins and my steals is talking about tight ends. We're only targeting 2 or 3 guys. Yeah, we're definitely going to need some tight end help for sure. 20th Mike says, did you know Ron got rid of the Redskins pool table in their locker room to show you that you wouldn't be rewarded for taking L's? Well, that was just, I remember when he first got there, I don't know about the pool tables. I don't know if they had pool tables. I know they had ping pong tables in the locker room, and Ron got rid of those immediately. It was like the first thing that he did. And remember, Steve Smith went off about that. If you remember, when he first got the job, Steve Smith talked about, you know how weak that of a move that was for him getting rid of the ping pong tables. And then he went after Scott Turner and called him a weak offensive coordinator and said he was trash and this, that, and the third. So Steve did not have a lot of very nice things to say about Scott Turner, and he was not fond of Ron Rivera. And you remember, Ron Rivera was part of the leadership group that got rid of Steve Smith when he was in Carolina as a leader and a guy that still had a lot left to give. And so I think there was a little bit of ill will there. But, yeah, he got rid of the ping pong tables a while back, did Ron Rivera. He says he sees it as discipline for the players. Not necessarily discipline, more so like, hey, look, guys, we're not good enough to be playing ping pong in the locker room. And I don't know if they had that kind of thing in Carolina, but if you're changing the culture, and that was one of the things Steve Smith said. You trying to change the culture by taking out the ping pong tables, man, get the hell out of here. And to Ron, I think in his mind, he's thinking, look, I'm coming in here. We're going to change the culture. And the first thing I'm going to do is going to let you guys know you're not going to be 3-13 and think you're going to be horse playing in the locker room. You want to play ping pong, do that at your house with your own time. When you're here, you won't be playing ping pong in the locker room. So again, I don't really know what that does. I don't know if the players the guys aren't really fazed by that kind of thing. And really, from what I was hearing, there were only a select few guys that played on the ping pong table anyway. It was a lot of the special teams guys. Tress Way and Dustin Hopkins and Nick Sundberg were the best ping pong players. Go figure, they're all special teamers. I don't think there was a lot to that anyway, but yeah, it was the ping pong table. JP says, I have a feeling that not only we're going to get Greg Olsen, but we might be getting another marquee name. I have no idea who, but we're getting someone. Just that gut feeling. Could be. Oh, got a call. Going to go ahead and take it. Missed it. Could be. This is an interesting offseason because it's the first without Bruce Allen in a decade. So I honestly don't know what to expect from the Redskins in free agency. We got a ton of cap space, and we got enough holes that the Redskins could be aggressive in free agency. So I'm anxious to see what happens when March 16th gets here, because let's face it, we have no idea what the Redskins are thinking about doing right now. We don't. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. JP says, I appreciate Rivera coming in and trying to bring a winning culture. We weren't getting that with Coach. I got to look at the tape, Gruden. He didn't even seem to care about the job. I disagree with that assessment. A lot of times Gruden knew, he just didn't want to say. Remember, he tore Robert Griffin III to shreds in his rookie year or his second year here, or his first year here. I think that was Rob's third year in the league, if I'm not mistaken. And he tore him to shreds at the podium. And from that point on, Jay was a little bit more reserved in how he spoke at the podium. But I definitely feel like there's a culture change coming with Ron Rivera, and I am appreciative of that as well. If you're out there and you want your comment read, make sure you use the hashtag LouisTLive to have your comment read on the air. That's LouisTLive. Hashtag LouisTLive to have your comment read on the air. Got a call, gonna go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Lou, it's JP. How you doing, man?
What's going on, JP?
I'm good. Honestly, actually, you know what? I'm not very good, man. I'm a little upset that my man Mookie Betts got dealt from my Red Sox to the Dodgers, but that wasn't going to stop me from coming on to talk Redskins football with you, man.
Sounds good.
I got a couple of questions for you. The first one, I wanted to ask a little about the attendance issue.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm going to ask you this, now that we got Bruce Allen out of here, and now that we could start fresh and actually have an opportunity to put a winning product on the football field, without the worry of Bruce and Mr. I got to look at the tape Gruden holding us back, and Mr. 3-4 Minuski. Do you think that these changes will spark the fan base to want to come back, or will they have to win games in order to, start making money again?
It's the latter. The moves to get rid of Bruce and all of that was a necessity. That was necessity. That was the first step in order to even have a chance to get people back interested. Not necessarily butts back in seats, paying customers back at games, but just interested again. A lot of people were disinterested with this team because of the lack of changes, because of the stale situation with Bruce going on a decade of futility. They were sick of it. And so getting rid of Bruce was a prerequisite. That had to happen in order for you to even have a shot to get people interested enough to think about going to the game. Now, the next step, if you want to actually put butts back in seats, is you got to win. And I think that's going to take some time. It'll be interesting to see how the schedule, lands for the Redskins, because last year we could see right off the bat, Jay Gruden didn't stand a chance. We saw it coming. The writing was on the wall. When you looked at the first 5 games of the schedule, you're like, man, if we can find a way to get to 2-3 after this first 5-game stretch, you got to feel like we won. And we went 0-5, and we looked horrible doing it. After the first 2 weeks, we weren't competitive really in any of the other games. And so, the schedule will play a huge part in potentially getting butts in seats. 2 years ago, when we started 1-0 and destroyed Arizona on the road, and then came home for the Indy game, nobody was at the game. It was literally ghost town field, as a wise man likes to call it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this season, how the schedule shakes out. But I think winning is going to be the thing that gets people back, not just Bruce Allen being gone, Minuski being gone, and a new culture potentially with Ron Rivera. That all sounds great, but we've been here before. I said that when Rivera was hired. We've been here before. The optimism, all of it. That's why it's cautious optimism, because we've seen this trick before that Daniel Snyder does, where we hit rock bottom, he goes abracadoo, and poof, a new coach appears, we get excited, and then that guy fails 3-4 years later, and then we're doing this all over again. So you want to see results before you get excited.
Yeah, I understand that. If they do start winning games, would you consider, going to a game?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not opposed to going to a game, but I got to see that the changes that have taken place are changes for the better and changes that have some staying power. Once I establish that, I'm pretty sure I'll be at some games. I fully expect the Redskins at some point to be in the postseason, and I'd actually like to attend 1 or 2 of those games. So, yeah, I can see myself going to some Redskins games in the near future, for sure.
Oh
yeah, definitely. I hope that, we get that, we can finally, turn it around. It's been way too long. This team has stunk for too long, and, maybe things are looking up. I got another question for you.
Sure.
I know that free agency. I'm sure we definitely have holes to fill in free agency in the draft. Obviously, Chase Young is out there in the draft, and that Greg Olsen has mutual interest in joining the Redskins. I have a feeling, actually, in addition to maybe getting Greg Olsen, would you also be surprised if we somehow land another marquee name I'm not going to say exactly who it is, but would you be surprised if we ended up with a name like, let's say a Green, for instance, maybe a Henry, maybe a Darby or a Chris Harris or someone like that?
I wouldn't be surprised. No, that's why I said this is an interesting offseason because for the first time in a decade, Bruce Allen isn't running free agency. And so you really don't, we knew what Bruce's MO was. Bruce wasn't really going to spend a ton of money. Last year was an outlier because Daniel Snyder really wanted to make a big splash. Remember, they were trying to go after every free agent they could get their hands on last year, and they just came up with one, Landon Collins. But they wanted to go after Golden Tate. They wanted to go after C.J. Mosley. And so they were looking to, Daniel Snyder was up to it with the lack of production, and he wanted to go out and get guys. He kind of reverted back to old Dan, and we were only able to get one of those guys that he was after. But, we knew what Bruce's MO was. He wasn't trying to spend a ton of money. He wanted to try to get good deals, on mediocre players. We don't know what this new regime's thought process is and what their philosophy is on free agency. If you look at what the Panthers did in Carolina, they weren't a very aggressive team in free agency. So if I'm taking what they did in Carolina and extrapolating that to Washington, I'd like to think that we're not going to be all that aggressive, but, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And with the unpredictability of Daniel Snyder, you don't know. For all we know, he could get contracts. He could have contracts lined up. He could be making calls to free agents like a AJ Green, for example, a Hunter Henry, maybe a Chris Harris or someone like that, or someone that's on the market that he really wants, and he's willing to give them some money to try and be a part of this organization. It's going to be interesting. And again, I would not be surprised if we landed a name like Green, for example. That's probably the one name. And I'm not sure if you heard this, Lou, but they did an article on Bleacher Report that Le'Veon Bell might be out of New York. I don't know if that's true or not. That Le'Veon Bell's relationship with Adam Gase isn't very good, but then he came out and he clarified that he's fine and that he wants to be in New York. And somebody pointed out that the Redskins might be involved with Le'Veon Bell. I don't know if this is true or not. But would it, again, we're fine at running back. I wouldn't have a problem with Bell, but at the same time, I don't really want to deal with the headache of Le'Veon Bell. It would be nice, but at the same time, we don't really have the offensive line to necessarily block for him. So I just want to know your thoughts.
All right, I'm going to take that one and run. Hey, appreciate you chiming in, JP. Have a good one.
All right, thanks, man. I'll try to call in later.
Sounds good. So, this isn't the first time I heard the Le'Veon Bell thing. Someone actually asked me about that today. I don't really give too much, credence to that as far as him coming to Washington. Yeah, I don't think there is a great relationship between he and Adam Gase. That started when Gase said that he wouldn't have paid Le'Veon Bell the money, nor C.J. Mosley the money that those guys were making. He thought that those were two contracts that, remember, Adam Gase got the guy that made those deals happen run out of town. So he was not happy with the money that was spent on those players, and he let it be known. And so I thought there was friction from the jump with Le'Veon Bell and Adam Gase. That being said, I don't know if anything is going to happen with him. And even if it does, I don't think Washington is the destination for him. We still got Adrian Peterson under contract. You got Darius Geis as a third-year running back. Again, he's been injury-prone, and I totally understand that. But, you still got him. You got Bryce Love. I don't see the Redskins being in the Le'Veon Bell market, and I don't see the Redskins trying to acquire that contract. It just doesn't make a lot of sense from the Redskins standpoint. It's not like he's coming here for free. So I don't see that being the case, and Le'Veon Bell being a real option for the Redskins this offseason. Got a super chat. This one from Power Nickel 29. Thank you so much for the super chat, Power Nickel 29. And he says, "What's up, Lou? I'm a new Redskins fan from the London, UK. Thank you so much from across the pond." He says, "Your vlogs help understand everything skin, so thank you." He says, "My question is, which tight ends do you like up in the upcoming draft? Hashtag HTTR, hashtag Louis T Live." Thank you once again, Power Nickel 29, for your super chat. So I've got a list of about 5 tight ends right now, and I'm going to probably end up watching a ton more. But these, to me, are the top 5 tight ends in this year's draft. In no particular order am I putting these guys right now, although I have a specific order in my mind as I'm looking at the list. But I'm not going to give that to you right now because I want to be able to watch a little bit more tape and familiarize with myself with some of these guys before I actually give out the order. And I'll do that at a later date and time, and you will be aware of that. But nonetheless, I've got Albert O out of Mizzou as a guy that will be one of the first tight ends off the board. I think I don't think you'll see a first-round tight end this year. I don't. But I think he'll be one of the first ones off the board in the second round. Jacob Breland out of Oregon is another name that you need to watch. A guy that had a major injury at Oregon, but is a really talented tight end, a pass catcher, that is. I don't think he's all that of a run blocker, but again, got to watch the tape before I make that assessment. Bryson Hopkins out of Purdue is another name that, is starting to gain a little bit of traction. I think he can really help himself if he tests well at the combine. We'll see what he's able to do. Cole Kmet, I talked about him out of Notre Dame. I'm very familiar with him. He's a really solid option. When he's healthy, he could be a really productive pass catcher at the next level. And he can actually block a little bit too. He's not great at it, but the want to is definitely there with him. And Colby Parkinson from Stanford is another name. And I believe he declared for the draft. I have to double check to make sure that he did, in fact, declare for the draft. But I believe I read somewhere that he did declare for the NFL draft, and if he did, he's another guy that I think will be among one of the better tight ends coming out in this draft class. So those are some names to keep an eye on. I would love to get my hands on Albert O, Bryson Hopkins, Jacob Breland, or one of those guys. But again, how fast do they come off the board? Where do the Redskins stand at that moment? Do the Redskins have a second-round pick at that time? Are these guys available in the third round when the Redskins select? A lot of questions, not enough answers right now. What do the Redskins do in free agency? As you heard JP say earlier, he wouldn't be shocked if the Redskins not only signed Greg Olsen, but then snagged another big-name free agent. What if that another guy at the tight end position is that big-name free agent that he's referring to? So hard to really say what the Redskins will do at tight end, but they're going to do something. And those are some of the names that I think are going to be on the Redskins' radar when it's all said and done. So thank you once again for the super chat. And let's get to some more comments. Oh, got a call. Gonna go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Jay.
Hey, what's going on, AJ?
I'm much tired and what the thing I noticed about some Redskins fans is, as Stephen A. Smith once said, stay off the weeds. Just because you hire Rob Rivera doesn't mean the Redskins are going to be the next best team.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, a lot of people are expecting Super Bowl within the next 5 years.
I mean, that's not unrealistic. 5 years. You would like to think that after two solid years here, you'd like to think that at that point you should be in a position to start making some serious inroads. When he was in Carolina, remember he took over a team that was 2-14. They drafted Cam Newton. They struggled that first year. I think they made some significant strides in the second year, and if I'm not mistaken.
The second year they went 7-8-1.
Yep.
And somehow still made the
playoffs. So I think there is going to be a turnaround here. We just don't know how quick it's going to take place. But like I said, I'm not expecting a 1 year from worst to first type of turnaround. It would be nice, but that's not what I'm expecting. But 5 years, sure, why not?
Especially with the Eagles and Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean the division. I mean, don't forget the Giants. I know the Giants aren't very good, but we're not very good. They're probably thinking to themselves, why can't we be 10-6 and have a chance to win the division next year? Just like we're thinking the same thing. So don't discount the Giants, but yeah, I totally. Eagles and the Cowboys are the two.
Yeah. Also, Alec Smith or Dwayne Haskins next year.
Say that again.
Alex Smith or Dwayne Haskins at third quarterback next year.
It's not even a question for me. It's Dwayne Haskins. I don't think Alec Smith is ever playing again in the NFL. I don't. I will be shocked, put it that way, if he ever steps foot on an NFL field in a meaningful capacity. I would be shocked. I really would.
I mean, I could see them hiring Alex Smith as like a quarterback's coach.
I don't know if he would want to do that. I don't know if he would want to do that. But go ahead.
Really?
I said I don't know if he would want to be a quarterback's coach or not. Not sure if that's something that he would aspire to want to do.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's Dwayne Haskins is the guy moving forward, and plus you don't want to kill his confidence.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think anyone's worried about killing his confidence. He's a really confident guy. I'm not. That's the last thing I'm worried about. I think they're more concerned with him just being able to grow up, his maturity level. They need him to understand that being the leader of a franchise is a lot of work. It's a job that you cannot take lightly, and you got to be willing to be a leader of men. And a lot of times, you being as young as as he's going to be, assuming the starting job this year, a lot of these guys are older than you. So if you want guys that are older than you to follow you, you've got to lead the right way. And I think that's what they're trying to get Dwayne to understand, is that there's a certain level of maturity that comes with the kind of leadership that they're asking him to have.
True. Yeah, also, who knows how Dwayne Haskins is going to be next year? He could be next Lamar Jackson, or it could be next Baker Mayfield in his second year.
Yeah, you don't know. And that's the beauty of football, because we all thought that, Baker Mayfield was, well, not we all, because I didn't, but a lot of people thought that Baker Mayfield was going to be great this year, and the Browns were going to win double-digit games, and they were going to be a big team to deal with in the AFC, and look how that turned out. Meanwhile, no one was talking about the Ravens before the season, and no one gave the Ravens a chance, and they ended up being one of the best teams in football. So.
Yeah, honestly, I had the Ravens winning the division just because I didn't trust the Browns with a rookie head coach and a second-year quarterback.
Well, that was a great assessment, and it turned out to be that way.
Yeah, plus I felt like the Rams had the most experience out of all the teams in their division because, as I said, from the forward to top was the head coach.
And that's what we're hoping, that over the course of time, Ron Rivera proves to be that kind of guy for us, like John Harbaugh is to the Ravens. But, hey, AJ, man, thanks for calling in. You have a great night. Take care, man.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Ron Rivera will be the next Bill Belichick. Just needs to change the scenery.
Hey, maybe. And remember, it was in Belichick's second stop where he started to make history. It wasn't in Cleveland where he first started, but it was in New England. So we'll see. You could be right. Hey, AJ, appreciate you, man. Take care.
All right, see ya.
Yep. All right. Got another super chat. I'm going to go ahead and read that. It's from my man, John Saluda. Hey, what's going on, John? Appreciate you, man. John Saluda, good looking out on the super chat. He writes, I know you disagree. Uh-oh, here we go. But I believe Alec Smith is going to start next year. As much as he's been in Dan's ear all year, if he says he's healthy, I say he gets a chance. Thank you for your time, brother. HTTR. I told you, you're not wrong. And anyone that thinks Alec Smith plays next year, you're not wrong. Because Alec Smith, one, is determined. Is he truly determined to get back on the field? I think he is. I think there is a part of him that understands that you're taking a massive risk if you step back on the football field. You know, no one's going to feel sorry for you. The other team isn't going to think, oh, man, this guy's coming off of a massive, leg injury. Let's take it easy on him. They're going to be out there trying to crush Alec Smith. And, there's a big risk that comes with him stepping on the field. That being said, if he says he's healthy and the doctors give him 100% clearance and they're telling the team that, and, Dwayne's not doing the things that they want him to do, it's not out of the realm of possibility, man. It could definitely happen. I'm hoping that it does not transpire that way. But you're not wrong in feeling that way, because I think Dan feels like it'd be a hell of a story if Alex Smith were to come back and start and have success. He's a very likable guy. Everyone's rooting for him. And so it'd be a great story, but him playing would have to come at the expense of Dwayne Haskins' failure or injury. And I don't want to see either one of those things take place. So Alex Smith playing means something went wrong with Haskins, whether it be physically, mentally, or both. And I don't want to see that take place. So we'll see what happens. But yes, I do agree. I don't think he's going to set foot on the field, but man, he's determined. I can tell you that much. Alex Smith is determined to prove people like myself wrong. And we'll see if he's capable of doing that or not. Make sure you use the hashtag LouisTLive if you want to have your comment read on the air. As we jump into, got another call, going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
I do agree. I don't.
All right. And just so you guys are aware, we've talked about this before, but let me reiterate this. The pecking order goes super chat, phone call, comment section. All right. Let me repeat that again. The pecking order goes super chat. So if you want to jump to the front of the line, super chat is the way to go. The next quickest way to get into the show is on the phone lines. Number is on the screen in front of you. And then the last mode of communication is the comment section using the hashtag LouisTLive. So, all right. Lorenzo Simpson says, this offseason should put the focus on the offensive lineman and tight end in free agency. With the third-round pick, take Antoine Winfield Jr., safety out of Minnesota. We'll come back to that comment. I got a call. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Here's your man, Frankie. Louis, what's good, brother?
What's going on, Frankie?
Nothing much, man. Long time no talk to, man.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Good, brother?
It's been a while, man. Good to hear from you.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
A lot's been going on, right?
Yeah.
Lots been going on. But first, I want to say, can I get my shit off right quick? Can I get my shit off?
Can you get your what?
Can I get my shit off? Can I
Yeah,
get
man.
my Redskins
Yeah, hell
off?
yeah. That's why you called in. Do it.
All right, brother. All right, look. To start with, didn't my plan come to fruition? Remember way back when I was talking to Bruce Allen, they trying to get him out the way. Remember what you told me? Nah, ain't gonna happen. You crazy, Frankie. You crazy. What happened? Remember when I told you, yo, I think Trent and Dan, it might be something to it. Maybe Trent won't come back.
I remember you
what
saying
did
that.
you would tell me? It was like, Frankie, nah, Trent, he ain't coming back.
Yeah. Yep.
But guess what now, brother?
Yeah.
We got Ron Rivera. I love Ron. I'm liking what I'm saying. He's making changes. They got Dan there. You got Bruce out the way, and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
But let's end with that chapter. That was last season. On to the new, bigger, better stuff right now. So we got Ron. We got Jack. I'm loving them, loving the moves that they're making on the coaching side. It's beautiful. It's great. It's great. And then we got the number 2 pick. And I've been watching your show, and I know that y'all have been discussing probably a trade and all that stuff. Chase Young, Chase Young, that's our Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Do you not believe we're not a better team than the 49ers was last year at 4-12, than us 3 at 13? I know the record is worse, but our personnel and betters. Think about their players last year, the same players from this year last year. Would you not say we got the same players or better, or defense at least?
I don't know if I'm willing to say that. I remember that 49ers
The
team.
4-12 49ers.
Yeah, I remember that team.
49ers.
Remember.
Look at our defense.
What
They
about
didn't
our
have no
defense? Our
Landon
defense is
Collins.
not good.
We got Landon Collins and Josh Norman. So they got Sherman. That was their best player on that 4-12 defense that year. That was their best player. We had Landon Collins and Josh Norman. I know Josh ain't Josh, but Josh is still
Their best player on defense was DeForest Buckner last year. He had like 16 sacks, 15 sacks, something crazy like that last year. We don't have that. We don't have that guy on our team. We don't even have one of those.
Okay, DeForest Buckner, but
Eric Armstead went off this year. I don't know if that's going to happen with us. This is the thing. The 49ers last year, despite the record, their biggest problem was they didn't have a quarterback. They were in just about every single ball game. All right. They were in games. They should have won, but they just didn't know how to win. And they had C.J. Beathard at quarterback. They had the kid from Ole Miss at quarterback. That was their biggest issue. They could run the football, which we don't have a consistent run game, but Kyle Shanahan, don't matter who the hell's back there, don't matter who's on the offensive line, they're going to run the rock. And they had, and you could see what George Kittle was doing. You could see he was coming. We don't have that. We don't have that. We got Terry McLaurin. We got that. They don't have one of those. So there's a bright spot, but if you ask me, the 49ers were in a much better position than we are right now. And then they made some good moves in the offseason too to complement. Like, you look at the 49ers defense last year before the moves that they made, they were building this. Jaquaski Tart, Jimmy Ward. Like, they were building towards this already. DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, Solomon Thomas. Like, they were already building towards this. Fred Warner was already on the team. They were already building towards what they did this year. And then they added in Quan Alexander. They added in D Ford. They added in all of these necessary pieces. And then obviously the biggest one, Nick Bosa. And boom, it exploded. And then Jimmy Garoppolo came back healthy. So there's a lot of things.
Louis.
Yeah.
Do you not think that our players are not comparable to that? Probably in a lesser, just in a tier, probably down, or probably just a little notch under them than their 4-12 team. Okay? Just a notch under them, right? But if you add a coach like Ron Rivera, defensive coach, and then you add the double tantra with Jack Del Rio, that actually bump us a little notch up. That at least give us a little notch up. Like, okay, we got the coaching on defense. That's A1. That's A+. We have A+ coaching right now when it comes to defense. A+ all around the board. You can't lie. I can't lie. It's A+, Jack. Solidified. Ron, solidified. Right? But then you look at our pieces. Montez Sweat. Yeah, he raw. He young. But you give him a year, and he was coming along. You saw him in that Dallas game. You saw how he was looking. Really, we don't need Chase Young.
Hey, don't talk crazy. Don't talk crazy.
I know.
Don't talk crazy.
Too crazy. But
Don't
that's just
talk
showing
crazy.
how great that man is. That is not sounding crazy. That's just showing how great Montez can be. Well, not great. How good he is and how great he can be. But I'm just saying, Chase Young is our Nick Bosa. That's the cherry on top because we've got the front four. That's just going to elevate Payne, John, and Matt Ioannidis. Matt Ioannidis is going to be the fourth Buckner or better. So if he had 15 sacks that year, what you think Matt Ioannidis is going to do next to Chase Young with that attention from Chase Young? They can't double. So what you think Matt Ioannidis did with Montez Sweat this year, and he led the team.
Yeah.
So just think, yes, a man can dream, but dreams come into reality, and when you think and you do the math thing and you watch the tape on it, you can see that, we could be just like them. We can add the pieces in free agency just as they did. We got the coaching on defense that's better. We got the coaching on defense that's better. I will put Jack Del Rio over Sula. I think that's his last name. Their defensive coordinator any day. I don't care how young and how good he looks, but Jack Del Rio's proven, got a track record. Every time he got that 2 pick, you know what happened. So I'm going to take him. Then I'm going to take Ron when it comes to defense. That's something I can believe in. I know that they are going to have this defense, top 10 defense, because we've been saying for years, for like the past 3 years, we got talent on this defense. Like, we've been predicting in the offseason, Ashburn days, that, we got a defense throughout the whole offseason. We were saying, this is a top 10, top 5 defense, blah, 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 which it wasn't because of the coaching. But you put coach in there, now we on a whole nother level. Look at what Bill can do with his players. Think about it. You can't name me one defensive player that's special on the Patriots aside of Gilmore. That's my point.
They got some players, but I get your point. I understand where you're coming from, but you can't just assume because we got better coaching.
Not assuming it's believing in your team, bro.
Look, I understand that, but this is the thing. When you and I'm cautiously optimistic, as I've already said, I'm cautiously optimistic. So I too would like to believe everything you're saying, but I've been scorned before. I've seen this movie before. So before it could be a different movie, but it could have the same ending. It could be a different movie, but it might have the same damn ending. All right.
I don't think. I think the writers done changed the script on this. I think they done changed the script, Louis, because what your man Dan doing, he booted his best man. They had trainer for Trent. Didn't I tell you this? I told you. That's the reason why he got rid of this man. But Trent, he got rid of the 2 people Trent didn't like. So if him and Trent was not talking, like Trent ain't tell him, like, I don't like these 2 people, just them. You get them out, we can talk again. What did he do? That's not because of Ron. No, that was because Dan and Trent talked, like, yo. And look, and another thing, Louis, if Trent comes back, that offense could be, look, I say let Brandon Sheriff go. Brandon Sheriff, he's not Trent. Trent can make this line look a top 10 line by himself with other people, with Morgan Moses's or with everybody else we had years back, all those unnamed linemen from years back. But he made the line look good because Trent is that elite player that can show. He is the Quentin Nelson of our line. You drop Trent on that line, he makes the line look top 10 in sequence. Brandon can't give us that, and we've seen that this year. Brandon can't make the line look great. Brandon is not no Zach Martin. He's not that type of build, and they see that. That's why they ain't signing him, because we had the worst line the past 2 years when Trent's injured and you're starting. Why are we going to pay $1 million? Yeah, you're a great mauler and all that. You're great, but you're not worth it. So I say we give the young boy Martin, we start him. I don't say pay Flowers. We can pay Flowers if it's something cheap, like if it's like $6 to $8 million range out, it's cool. But I say a rookie can go when you bring Trent back. And with Morgan Moses, I know y'all down on Morgan Moses, but Morgan Moses is a solid right tackle. Don't get it mixed up. Don't get it
not y'all. Don't lump me in with
right
everybody else. I'm not down on Morgan Moses. Yeah, he's false starting and there's a few holes in there, but Morgan's fine.
If we didn't have Morgan right now, we'll be real suspect. So he's solid, and plus he's available.
Yeah, right. He plays. I can agree with that.
And I think if we bring back Trent, and I know in your heart you want back Trent too, Louis. I know in your heart you do, brother. And I think if we bring back Trent, that line with Dwayne Haskins, I ain't even touched on Dwayne Haskins yet and his potential, Louis. Man, I tell you, I got so much talk, but I know I ain't got time, brother. But Dwayne Haskins, that boy gonna be special next year.
We'll see.
Hey, mark my words. Mark my words now. The Pat Mahomes effect is in play. I'm not reaching. I don't care. Mark the words now, brother. The Pat Mahomes effect is in play. Next year, Dwayne Haskins is going to look like a whole different QB. He's going to look like he's going to have a Lamar Jackson.
Get off the phone, man. Get out of here. Hey, man, I appreciate you calling in, man. You talking crazy now.
I'm not.
You got to get off the phone, man. You cannot put Patrick Mahomes and Dwayne Haskins in the same sentence. I'm not going to allow you to do that, man.
Believe he's not going to have that type of season where it's over, but he going to look like an elite. That's what I'm saying. He going to look like an elite. He going to look like a top 15 QB next year.
Top 15 is not elite.
Believe in him.
Top 15 is not elite. That's not elite. Top 15 is not elite. Just so you know.
But it kind of.
No, it's not. That's top half of the league. That's Kirk Cousins. That's Alec Smith. That's not elite.
Right. You were right. Top 5 is elite. You were right. But I'm saying in like that top 15 range, we are at least going to because this is going to be his second year. And if you consider it in the top 15 range, would you not take that?
No, that would be a huge step up. Yes, I would love to see him be in that range.
And that type of step up, Louis, is what I'm trying to tell you, brother. That's what I expect from him, is that type of step up.
That's not Patrick Mahomes. That's not Patrick Mahomes level, though. That's not what you just said. You said Patrick Mahomes in effect. That is not Patrick Mahomes.
The stardom, how you seen him from week 1 that season. You seen him and said, "Oh, that's that type of effect." Dwayne Haskins is going to be like. We are going to have that Lamar Jackson week 1 where he lit up Miami. Haskins is going to have that effect, and you're going to be like, "Whoa, this is a new guy." Oh, my Terry is going to look amazing. Sims is going to look good. I'm not saying that they're going to be all pros, no, but they're going to make a step to where you are going to say, "Oh yeah, this team is different," because of that Ron Rivera effect, and then that culture change. Plus, Dwayne Haskins is going to step up. He on Twitter, he on IG right now. He's saying, "Yo, say less." That's his thing, saying say less when they post up a joint saying, "Yo, to show me that you a leader." The man said say less. So with him saying say less, I know he aware. He aware and he know what time it is. So this is why he about to turn up. This is the era, twin.
In the same sentence with Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Your boy was off his rocker there, but he was right. He did call in a while back. Now, I'm not sure the way he described it is the way it went down. Like Trent called up Dan and was like, yo, get rid of these dudes and let's get, Bruce out of here. But Bruce is gone and Trent could be back. And I remember telling him that there was no way in hell Trent was going to be back here. So he could be right. And I do want Trent back. I know there are a lot of people that don't want Trent back. Now, what is Trent asking for? There's still some things to iron out. But anyway, that was a crazy call. But anytime he calls in, we usually have a good laugh at his expense. And he usually says some pretty interesting off the beaten path type of things. So with that being said, let's check to see if we got any super chats. We do not have any more super chats. Let's go to the comment section. I remember I was reading my man Zoe's comment. So let's go back up to Zoe's comment. He said this offseason should put focus on the offensive lineman and tight end in free agency, and with the third round pick, take Antoine Winfield Jr. out of Minnesota. Free agency, I think if you're speaking of taking care of your own in free agency along the offensive line, sure. What you don't want to do is go out and spend free agency dollars on offensive linemen when you got guys in-house that need to be paid. It sends the wrong message to the team. Furthermore, at the tight end position, there's going to be moves made, whether it's Greg Olsen before free agency even starts, because he is, you're able to sign him because he is technically already a free agent. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. And if that changes the direction the Redskins go in, if they sign Greg Olsen, are they still going to be aggressive in free agency at the tight end position? Or will they be satisfied there and will they just look for a tight end in the draft? Or will they get Greg Olsen and still be aggressive at the tight end position in free agency, despite already having signed one veteran tight end already? We'll see what they decide to do. And as far as Antoine Winfield Jr. is concerned, a lot of people seem to like this guy. A lot of people seem to think that he is worthy of a early round pick. And also, he'll be an interesting guy to watch at the safety position. Will he be available in the third round is probably the more apt question. Right now, I think that's where everyone's kind of slotting him in the third round. But, we'll see what happens with him. And, if that stock continues to rise and we get to April and all of a sudden he's a second round pick. So we'll see what happens. Nonetheless, I'm going to check for super chat. No super chat. Let's get back up to the comment section. And I believe we have we got a call. You're on live with your man Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Oh, what's up? I'm a young fan from Nebraska.
Hey, what's going on?
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What do you think about the defense? What do you think about next year? Think we're a top 5 defense?
I wouldn't go as far as to just put us in the top 5. I think we have a realistic shot to crack the top 12. And if the guys that we've been talking about for the last 2 years start to show the type of ability that we thought they had when we made them first round picks. I'm speaking of Jonathan Allen. I'm talking about Deron Payne. We know about Ioannidis, which is why the Redskins re-signed him and extended his contract. If Montez Sweat shows that first round ability and then you add in a guy like we think in Chase Young, yes, this defense could be really, really good. And I think we still got some work to do in the secondary, but you add that pass rush, it'll make that secondary a lot better.
All right. What do you think? What free agents do you think we need to make our defense better?
I think we will have to do something at linebacker. I think that's one of those positions the Redskins and corner. I think those are the two. If you ask me right now, what are the two positions defensively that the Redskins might look to make a splash in free agency at, I would tell you that the cornerback position is number 1, and then the second position would be linebacker. So those would be the two positions I think the Redskins might look to try to make a move at.
You think we're gonna keep John Bostic?
I think it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think that's a really good question too. That he provides depth, and he was a guy that was available all year last year. He seems like a really smart football player. I coined him the Mason Foster of the defense last year. I think he's a more athletically gifted version of Mason Foster. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back.
have you seen what Jack Del Rio has done with other defenses, like the Broncos and the Oakland defense, for instance?
Yeah. He's done some really good things as a defensive coordinator. In Oakland, when he was the head coach, they weren't all that great on defense, but his 2 stops previous to that as a defensive coordinator, and even when he was in Jacksonville as the head coach, they had a very good defense in Jacksonville. So usually wherever he goes, good defense follows. I'm really confident that he's going to be able to take this defense and get a lot more out of it than we've seen with the last few coordinators that we've had.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Hey, thank you for calling in, man. Take care. Man, that was a really good call, man, by my young man out there in Nebraska, man. So he really feels good about this defense, as a lot of you do as well. And you should feel optimistic. But again, cautious optimism is what I'm preaching. All right? Cautious optimism. And I'm glad he was able to call in and his mom didn't come get him to take a bath. And so I feel good. But he was moving. He was knocking them out quick. Like, he knew he was on a time limit. Like, any moment now, somebody could bust in there like, hey, what you doing, man? Told you go take a bath. So he got him in there quick. Got a super chat. But he was on it, man. He had some really good questions. Got a super chat. I'm going to go ahead and read it. And it's from Daniel Watts. Thank you for the super chat. Daniel Watts, thank you for the super chat once again. John Saluter, HTTR for life. And what was the other super chatter earlier from the UK? Let me go grab yours real quick. Power Nickel 29. Thank all you guys for your generosity and these super chats. Daniel Watts writes, I don't know if you heard, but in JP's podcast, he interviewed with James Bradbury, and he said Bradbury, would love to reunite with Ron Rivera. Would you bring Bradbury in free agency? I told you, one of the positions that I think the Redskins are going to go after is cornerback. If you ask me right now what position defensively, just like I am sure the Redskins are going to do something in free agency at the tight end position, I'm equally as sure that they're going to be aggressive. Not necessarily come away with something, but I feel like they're going to. You're going to hear the Redskins rumored to be interested in multiple guys at the cornerback position, because that is another position of need on this football team. And outside of Dunny, which he hasn't been able to stay healthy, but when he has, he's been extremely good. Outside of Dunny, no one has been consistent on this football team at the cornerback position. Not in the slot, not out wide. And so there's going to be some moves made at the cornerback position. Fab showed a little bit of promise last year, but not enough to stop you from going out and getting a guy if you believe in him. James Bradbury, to me, I remember when he first came in the league, I thought the Panthers overdrafted him. Thought they spent a very high pick on a football player that went to a small school, and I thought they were reaching for a raw prospect. What I've seen from him is a guy that has grown in what they've asked him to do. Much like Josh Norman, I don't think he's a pure man-to-man cover corner. I don't think he's a guy you just line up and say, hey, follow this guy, run with him. However, you put him in cover 3. He's long, he's active, he's got good ball skills, and he tackles. I like James Bradbury. I think he's in the prime of his career. I think Ron Rivera really likes James Bradbury. And it would not shock me in the least if the Redskins went after a guy like James Bradbury. Again, keep in mind, I know we keep talking about these Carolina connections, but there are certain guys that Ron Rivera probably really liked when he was in Carolina. And if he has a chance to bring them along with him, you better believe he will try to take that opportunity to bring some of those guys along. You see Greg Olsen could potentially be here. Don't be surprised if James Bradbury is another name that ends up here in Washington when it's all said and done. Thank you for the super chat, Daniel Watts. Very good question there. Got a call. Going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, what's up, Louis T, man? It's fresh out of Richmond, Virginia, man.
What's going on?
I'm a subscriber, but check this out, bro.
Yep.
Damn that, listen, I can cuss on this joint.
Yeah, man.
Man, damn that shit you talking about, some goddamn cautious optimism. Keep it G with you. Man, listen. All right, just say we get Chase Young. Just say we do.
Okay.
Just think about the rotation, man. I don't even know in what order. Who's you give the rotation, bro? Fucking Chase Young, Matt Ioannidis, Jonathan Allen, Sweat, fucking Orchard if we sign him, or Ryan Anderson, Tim Settle, and fucking I'm missing one. One of them other inside guys is fucking Ryan Kerrigan in rotation, bro.
Yeah.
That's 8 good motherfuckers that could be great motherfuckers in rotation. You heard me?
I hear you, bro.
They're going to have plenty of energy. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how Kerrigan was like, he played like 90-some% of the snaps every year until he got hurt. You feel me?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you, bro. Loud and clear.
And then we're going to get to the secondary because a lot of people, y'all seem to be missing out on Fabian Moreau, man.
Fab showed some things. Fab showed some things late in the season, but let's not act like we just sold on Fab all of a sudden. Like, you got to see more.
All right, but let me finish, bro.
Okay.
I feel you. Let me finish.
Okay.
They had Fabian Moreau playing in a fucking slot.
Yeah.
His whole career.
Yep.
This motherfucker 6 feet something tall. About 200. Well, they don't even have the body type to play the slot. You feel what I'm saying? As soon as they moved him to the outside, look what happened.
Yeah.
We had like 4 picks in 2 games.
Yeah.
Come on,
something
man.
like that. It was.
Come on. The only thing we need to worry about is if Dunbar can stay healthy. I guarantee you, if they leave Moreau on the outside, he don't need help. He fast. He don't need help. I don't know if y'all watched the tape on that, brother. Yeah, he don't need help. Leave him on the outside. If Dunbar can stay healthy, you straight. You straight back there now. Now, I got you on the linebacker thing. Yeah, that linebacker shit suspect. I ain't going to lie to you. That's because Bosca's suspect. I mean,
No. I wasn't saying Bostic is a guy you want starting. I think he's a guy you want for depth purposes.
Yeah, but he's trash, man. I like Holcomb. I like Sean Dion. See, Sean Dion Hamilton. He started making plays once Holcomb stole his job.
I just want to see him on the field, though. I just want to see him get more opportunities. And I think you will now, being that we switch it to a 4-3. I think there will be more opportunities for these linebackers. You know, when we were in that 3-4, you know, it wasn't a lot of opportunities, and then we were in nickel a ton, and so you were a lot of times only having 2 backers on the field. So it'll be interesting to see what happens now.
Man, mark my words, bro. Mark my words, man. Ain't no cautious optimistic.
Hey, look, man.
Proof is in your face, bro.
Hey.
He had Greg Winuski, bro.
I understand that, man. You know what I need you to do? I need you to keep that same energy when we go 6-10, 7-9. I need you to come back here and tell me.
All right, you're right.
All right, okay.
I'm going to give you that. And before I go, one thing. I used to call to the ESPN radio, and I used to bet them. I told them that our rookie receivers would show out, and they laughed in my face. Did our rookie receivers not show out?
They did.
I'm going to leave you with that, bro.
Hey, sound good to me, man. Have a good one, bro. Take care.
You too, brother.
All right. I love the call. I love the enthusiasm. Again, those are the type of people right there. Those are the type of callers that I feel for, okay? Because they dive in head first. All right? 4 feet of water, and they diving in off the damn top of the damn diving board. All right? And it ain't 12 feet of water, man. It's 4 feet. You got to be careful. You can hurt yourself. I feel bad for those types of fans because they get sucked in. And you've seen this before. And I want to be overly excited like he was. He got me excited. I can't allow myself to do that though. Because I know better. This is a no flex zone, okay? I know better. All right? So I'm not flexing about the defense, Jack Del Rio, Ron Rivera, none of that. I ain't flexing about none of these guys or none of the things that we have until we go out and prove consistently that we can get the job done at an elite level. Everybody wants to compare us to the 49ers. You heard the caller Frankie earlier talk about the 49ers and how we are better than the 49ers were 2 years ago when they were 4-12 before they went on this magical run to the Super Bowl. No, we're not. No, we're not. All right. Now you get Chase Young, and he could change everything. Nick Bosa did. And I'm hearing Chase Young, and again, I'm going to watch the tape intently. I know what I saw. I know what my eyeballs saw last year. I know what my eyeballs saw this year. I know Chase Young is the real deal. All right? I don't need the tape for that. I need to watch the tape, however, to determine if he is as technically sound as the Bosa's were. Because that's, to me, the Bosa's weren't off the charts athletically gifted. They were good athletes, not great athletes. Neither one of those guys jumped off the screen with athleticism. But what they did do that nobody else is doing was they came in with the skills of a 10-year polished veteran day one. The hand usage, the feet, the quickness, the ability to give guys moves and pull out different moves out of the Rolodex. The way they used their feet, the way they used their hands was uncanny. They came into the league ready to dominate from a technical standpoint. That's what a lot of guys don't have. If Chase Young has that to go along with what I've seen from just raw athleticism, then I'll be able to talk that crazy talk. But I can tell you this much. He's going to change the game. He's going to change the game. Will he be Nick Bosa in terms of change the game? I don't know. Did you watch the Super Bowl? Did you watch the Super Bowl? You can't tell me Nick Bosa wasn't the best player on the field. Best player. And I'm including Patrick Mahomes. For 51 minutes of that game, Nick Bosa was the best football player on the field. And even in the latter moments when Mahomes was making plays, he still was creating havoc. And there were some plays in there. I went back and watched. He got hogtied. He was kicking Eric Fisher's ass. And the officials just let it ride. So, anyhow, I digress. Let's get back to the comment section. I think we got some calls. Trying to get back to where we were. We were right here. All right. Got a call. Going to go ahead and take it. Oh, just missed that call. SP says, do you think all the players are happy and they believe in Ron Rivera? I can't answer that. I don't know if all the players are happy with Ron Rivera and do they believe in him. I can tell you this much. They probably know it can't get any worse than what it was. So from that standpoint, I think they believe that it's going to get better because it can't get any worse. Now, do they believe in Rivera and are they happy? I don't know. I can't speak to that. I can't really say that right now. The 20th Mike says, back to the first comment I made, there's no Titans out there to help us. There's no one for a linebacker or a left tackle in free agency that can replace Moses and Trent. Yeah, I don't think that it's dire. If Trent comes back, it's not dire. If he doesn't, then yeah, there's a huge gaping hole at left tackle for sure. You're on live with your man Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Yeah, this is Chris Zacharias, man, from Odessa, Texas. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, Chris?
Just chilling, man. Hey, I wanted to ask you a question. What kind of team offense, talking about the offense, do you think we're going to have next year? Is it going to be finesse, power, I don't know. I'm asking you your opinion, What do you think?
Yeah, we're going to be finesse. We are going to want to throw the football. And I think we're going to use the pass to set up the run. Now, I will say this. If the run game gets hot, they may stick with it. But most games, you're going to see them, use the vertical passing game to spread teams out and then look to run the football. So I look at this team offensively as a pass-first type of football team moving forward. And that's not uncommon. That's what we were with Jay Gruden. And, we haven't been a run-first team since the Mike Shanahan days. So I anticipate more of the same. If we run it 5 times in a game, we're lucky. But and again, let me reiterate this. We really don't know what we're getting with our offensive coordinator, Scott Turner, because there's not a ton of tape out there. So If you're buying into the Air Coryell offensive style that he has adapted from his father, then you've got to think that we're going to throw it a lot more than we run it.
Cool.
So
Do you think Geis is going to stay healthy?
again, that's one of those questions nobody has the answers to. I'd like to think that if he had any shot to stay healthy, this would be the year, because the injury that he sustained wasn't a serious one, and he's going to have ample time to heal and then strengthen and then actually start working on football movement. So, like last year, he had an injury, but he was pretty much rehabbing the whole offseason. This year, he's going to have an opportunity to actually be ready to go when we start training camp. And I think he'll be in football shape and he'll be ready to rock and roll. So I feel good about him. But, I felt good about him last year too. And you see what happened. So.
All right. Okay, brother man. Health to the Redskins. Take it easy now.
Hey, likewise, Chris, man. Appreciate you calling in.
Peace.
Yep. All right. Sorry about that technical difficulty there. Don't know what happened, but we're back like cook crack. And if that happens again, that may be a sign that probably time to get the hell out of here. But nonetheless, got a call. Let's jump back into to things and see who's on the line. You're on live with your man Louis T. Who am I speaking with? Hello? All right. Nobody's there. So we'll go back to the comment section. The 20th Mike says, like that Dan got fresh new field, I feel like the old field was the reason players were getting injured a lot, and hopefully a new stadium in the years to come. Go back to DC. I don't think they're going back to DC. It doesn't sound like that's what's going to happen. It seems like the field that the new stadium is going to be the old stadium, as in FedEx Field. They're going to have to just revamp it and give it a makeover. And I don't know if the Redskins will be able to still play in the stadium while they're redoing it, or they'll have to go somewhere else locally, like the soccer field, and play their games there like the Chargers did. Either way, something's got to give. They're going to have to figure out something, because the lease is up at FedEx, I believe, in 2027. So it's getting here a lot sooner than you think. And you can't build a stadium overnight. That's at least a 3-4 year project, building a stadium. So they got to figure something out. I think they're going to ultimately have to, Dan's going to ultimately just have to revamp FedEx Field and try to make it state of the art. And they're going to have to play somewhere in the meantime while they're doing that. So anyway, let's keep it moving. See what we got. Baby Glock says, guy's gonna just I don't know what he was saying there, so we're gonna keep it moving. Baby Glock says, who do you think will complete our defense more, Jeff Okudah or Chase Young? Chase Young, without a doubt. Because you can get away with, suspect to average corners if you have an elite pass rush. You can't have it the other way around. You can have an elite corner, but if your pass rush isn't getting there, he can't cover for 8 seconds. He can't cover for 7 seconds. I don't care how good he is. So you got the pass rush, they'll make average corners look good. You got elite corners, but an average pass rush, you might not be able to get away with that. So there's no question. Chase Young is the one that completes the defense. Got a call, gonna take it. You're on live with your man Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Yo, Lou, how you doing? This is John.
What's going on, John?
Yeah, I'm good, man. First of all, man, I just want to say this. Redskins fans, y'all need to calm your asses down, okay? Yes, I also have faith in this, this new regime, Ron Rivera and Del Rio. I think they're going to do good things But please, let's not jump into conclusions. Relax your asses, okay? Nothing has started yet, okay? Let's not crown them, and then when they don't win the first game, we go crazy, okay? So you guys need to calm down. Secondly, you keep talking about Chase Young, saying, is he Nick Bosa, is he whatever Bosa? He's not, he is Chase Young, okay? Let's not compare him to anybody who's already in the NFL. We don't know what he is going to be. He might be a great player. He might get into the Hall of Fame or whatever. Nobody knows none of that, okay? So everybody needs to, but first of all, he needs to get into the league, right? Play a couple of times for us to be able to know who he is going to be. Stop comparing him to Nick Bosa, because we don't know what he is going to be. He might not be Nick Bosa. So let's calm down with all that stuff.
That's what we do, though. That's what we do with prospects, is we compare them to other players.
I know, like Redskins fans are so, it's so annoying sometimes, you know? Like, it's crazy. Now, the same thing that you every time, you know, Joe Gibbs talks, right, he says, you know, the first 5 games he lost, and he felt like, you know what, I might be the first coach who will be kicked out from a team that the first head coach that will be kicked out from a team because he lost his first 5 games, you understand? Before he won his next game, he had lost the first 5. And I'm telling you right now, with the way Redskins fans are, so tipsy-turvy, the little thing, you guys are going crazy. Y'all are going to be flipping on everybody, and that's what I'm not trying. I don't want that to happen. I want everybody to calm down, relax. Let's see how it unfolds. They might not be as good as we think they are from the beginning, because they're now learning from the get-go. So let's give them time. Let them catch things up together, right? Eventually, they will be great. I believe in Dwayne Haskins. I believe he's going to be great. I think he's got a future. I think he's going to be very, very, like I kept telling you for a long time. You've heard me say it several times, Lou, that I think Dwayne Haskins is going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks. But you guys need to calm down, okay? Now, eventually he will. Right now, we need him to develop. It's going to happen. But let's not act like when he's not doing so well, everybody's going crazy. Calm down. That's all I want to say, man. What do you think?
I don't disagree with much of what you said. I've been preaching patience this entire time. That's been my motto. I've been preaching cautious optimism, you know, but fans are going to be fans. They're going to do what they do. And whether that's, you know, be so optimistic that they expect 13 wins this year or whatever the case may be, it is what it is. But all I can do is continue to preach to them that, you know, it's a process. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. You know, whether you're talking to Dwayne Haskins, whether you're talking about this entire organization, it's hard to preach patience with an organization and a fan base that's been waiting for 20 years. I get it. I've been a part of it. I understand that you're tired of waiting, but it's new. Everything's new right now. So you're starting the process all over again, and you're hoping that we got it right this time. So gotta go along with this process and see how it plays out. Trust the process.
Yeah, I just hope everybody can just calm down, relax. We might even lose our first 5, 10 games. You don't know. Anything can happen. Okay, but then what we need to see is growth. We need to see the team grow every single week. We need to see them compete every other week, every single week. You know, that is when we know that we are going to be something. For this year, I'm looking at it this way. We might get to the playoffs, but it's going to be a very tough road because we're now learning. So, Redskins fans, relax, chill out, okay? Just watch the kids grow, okay? I think this year is going to be a great year, okay? And it's going to be something that's going to shock people because they don't believe, they don't know what we have. People don't believe us. They don't think we have what it takes to get to the playoffs or even get to the Super Bowl. Everybody's doubting us. And I think that people are really sleeping on the talent in this team. But then we also, as fans, we still need to calm down because we need to accept the fact that there are going to be some growing pains. But through those growing pains is when we can become warriors. You understand what I'm saying?
Indeed. Appreciate the call, man. Take care.
All right, Lou, man. You take care of yourself, okay?
No doubt. We'll do.
I won't.
And to piggyback off of that nobody believes in the Redskins, I don't know if you guys are aware, but, soon as the season is over, soon as the Super Bowl is completed, you then get the odds for next year's Super Bowl. And right now, Vegas is telling you that the Redskins are going to be the worst team in football. They think that the Redskins have the smallest chance of winning the Super Bowl. That's right. The Redskins are the longest odds right now as it stands. I get it. It's literally a week since the Super Bowl. And nobody knows anything at 5.5 games. So they've got us tied with the Giants at 5.5 games in terms of the win total for next season. And we've got the longest odds to win the Super Bowl. So they don't think we're going to be good at all next season. We will see. Anyway, let's see. I think we're about to end this show because I'm having some technical difficulties. So I'm going to check to see if we got any super chats. If we don't, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and let you guys have at it. All right. So, no more super chats. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Appreciate you guys calling in. I appreciate all the super chats. I appreciate all the phone calls. Appreciate all the comments and all of you guys and gals who stuck it out with me tonight despite some of the technical difficulties that we went through. This is always fun chopping it up with you guys. Tonight we ran through the gamut of emotions. We've had extremely elated Redskins fans that feel like this team has a chance to be stellar next season. We've got the people pumping the brakes and telling you to drive slow, homie. Drive slow. And then you've got people in between. All right. And so that's this fan base in a nutshell. All right. You got the people that are extremists on this end of the spectrum that think the Redskins have a chance to be a top 5 defense and that Jack Del Rio and Ron Rivera are going to come in, have this defense booming, and we're going to be shutting teams down and we're going to win double-digit games. And then you got people on the other end of the spectrum like, look, man, you guys are crazy. Chill the hell out. You got to see this thing first before you start talking crazy. And then there are a bunch of people in the middle. That's what you got to love about this. That's what football does. It brings a lot of people together for one common goal. That's what sports does in general. And nothing like having a fan base all hoping for the same thing, but really aren't kind of coming together as to how it's going to take place. But that's nor here nor there. I'm your man, Louis T. Thank you for joining me on this program tonight. As I always say, it's a pleasure talking to you guys. It's always a lot of fun. I am a Redskins fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. Redskins spirit will never fold until we meet again. Hail to our beloved Washington Redskins. We're all family, man. We're all burgundy and gold brothers in arms when it's all said and done. And that is the thing that you have to remind yourself. You may not agree, all right? And usually family members don't always agree. But you have the same goal and purpose in mind, and you got to keep that in mind as well. All right, you guys, enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. New podcast tomorrow, and I will catch up with you guys next week. And next week when I get back, I'm going to give you guys the schedule for the offseason and what you should be looking forward to and how this thing is going to go. And then we're off and running. You know, it'll be combine late February before you know it. And then we'll be talking free agency mid-March, and then it'll be draft time in April, late April before you know it. So it moves quickly. I'm going to make sure I move quickly. So you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Like this video, subscribe to the Louis T Network if you haven't already done so. And I'll catch you on the other side. You guys have a good one. Take care.
Louis T Network.